Hi, I'm Tom with Kuat Racks. I'm going to show you how to remove the lower end and pivot bracket off of your NV or Kuat NV rack. This process is going to be the same whether you have the 2-inch model like this one or the 1.25 inch, but it's going to be the same either way. Now the tools you're going to need for this will be an 8mm Allen wrench and a 4mm Allen wrench. The process can be kind of tricky, so I'm going to do my best to kind of show you all those little tricks and kind of ways to do it that'll make it as easy as possible to remove this and replace it with your new one. Okay, so the first step in removing this lower end with pivot bracket from your NV is you're going to remove these 4 bolts that hold this end cap on. Notice I have the rack flipped upside down on the table. This is going to be the easiest position for you to work on the rack. So with your 4mm Allen wrench, you'll remove those 4 bolts that hold that plate on. You're going to need access to the inside of this, so removing this plate is pretty necessary. Okay, now that you have the plate removed from the back of the rack, you can go ahead and start to undo the 4 bolts that connect the lower end to the main body or the center beam of the rack. That's where you're going to take your 8mm Allen wrench and go ahead and just start to loosen those up and remove those top ones. These are usually pretty tight, so it might take just a little bit to get these undone. All right, so you've removed the 4 bolts from the pivot area and lower end from that main body. You can go ahead and remove that and set it aside. Now, when you get to this part of the process, if you look right on the end, there are 2 rods that kind of slide up inside of there. You can tilt the rack up and allow both of those to slide back out just a little bit. Now they float freely in there, so this is where this trick is going to come in to kind of put these back together. So you grab your new lower end, go ahead and place it up on the rack, and then the trick here is to hold the rod with your finger right up under that area, so that way you can go ahead and put in that first Allen bolt. Find the threads, and there's that first one. You're going to do that same process with the second one. Now, once you've got that one in and that kind of tightened down, what that'll do is it'll hold that rod in place for you to put the other ones in. Okay, so I've got all 4 of those Allen bolts kind of started in there. I haven't tightened them down yet because one thing I want to do is want to make sure that that lower end and pivot are lined up really well with the rack before I tighten everything down really good. So now that I've got that lined up, I can go ahead and tighten those down.